to run the installer Packstack, and we in the last video we generated the answer file, so we're going to leverage that answer file to perform the installation. So we are in the controller node, and I think the answer file is here. Yes. And now this setup will take a lot of time actually, and better because when we start first, I will be having. So it will be starting with the controller node. Let's see, we might encounter some issues and we have to troubleshoot at the same time. Okay, so the file name is Openstack. What was the file name? Openstack answer file.txt. Okay, underscore. Okay, let's. Okay, so it has started. It says that the installation log will be available here. This is the setup log. And also when each of the Puppet modules get installed, it will have its own manifest log also for compute, for network, etc. Now, since I did not put the id underscore rsa.perf, which we had discussed in our previous video, it is asking me to give the own password. So I'm going to give the password here. OpenStack will also need a passwordless login for its own controller node also, from where you are actually initiating the setup. 38 is my neutron network node. Okay, I'm going to give the password, and also for 37, which is the compute node. And okay, it will set up the SSH keys, and then let's see. And this setup will take some time actually. However, we can try to browse this log. Okay, it is checking now, querying RPM query Ruby gems. Young user is performing a lot of installation. Now this setup is not for the air-gapped systems because yes, it will need to, talk to the repositories to download a lot of stuff. Packstack will do that. So that setup would be of different kind. My setup was my NATed IPs are directly, talking to the internet. So yes, it is going to use Hira data. Puppet uses Hira for as a data source. Hira will be having all the data sources, and etcpuppet hira.yaml will have the Hira data directory. I think so. Yes. So it is checking actually. This is bash. If it is available, and if this is available, then it's creating a symlink in etc. Okay. Okay, it created a symlink. It created a symlink from etc to etcpuppet and skipping the creation. Okay, let me see. Preparing servers. Okay, I think this log is. If I go to where tmp packstack and I see here, okay, this is what is created as a new directory. Let me see. The resources and modules will not have much things as of now. I think it just created the yeah. So it created the directories, and probably it is doing the same now in these nodes. So the location will be still same. Packstack being the parent directory node, it hasn't come here still. So only when it starts the installation or reading the manifest for compute Puppet modules, that time the directory gets created here. it starts logging here. However, the symlink here is for latest. If I just check this part, 12:15. Yes, it is still writing in this log directory. Okay. Yeah, it is doing this. Let me just quickly check one thing. Because I don't want the setup to fail because of network manager. So here we can see, guys, it is doing an SSH and it already created a, see the modules. Now the directory in 137 should be present, which was not earlier. So where temp packstack, there you go, it's there. And so, oh, because it is reached to the controller. Okay. So now it's doing the setup on controller. So there should be a manifest created for, so we are on the controller node, okay? And if you go to this directory, yeah, there's a log file we can see, and this is running. So when the status is completed, this will change to finished. Let us monitor the logs. It will give a very clear information of what is happening. If there is any error that comes, it will highlight that in the red color. Warnings are yellow color, and if anything is successful, it will provide in green color. What I've observed is warning is always not a problem, and but yes, if there is any error, it's going to fail for that specific module. So module in the sense right now we are doing for controller. So if controller fails, it will show me something right over here. And let's see. So it's working on MySQL config. Okay. Okay. It is going to use Python modules for most of the packages. Python 3 OpenStack client. So this setup is going to take some time for sure. The Neutron part happens faster, but yes, the controller will take time. It has to install a lot of services. Database, schedulers, Nova. Nova itself has compute will take a little bit of time. It has four components: conductor, scheduler, uh, but controller will take more time. Okay, guys, so I would prefer to pause the video here because I don't want to make the video long. And once I get an updated output, I will start a new video to just show, because right now it's still going with the controller actually. And if there is any error, I'm going to show that. Hopefully I don't get any errors. We face some issue and there is an error here. Of course, we need to check the respective log file. There it says in the manifest folder on the same node, which is the controller node. So I have the another putty session. And when I check that, so I can say I made a silly mistake here where it says me that it will by default mount your file system that we created for the Swift storage okay, on this mount point. However, we formatted this with an XFS file system, but we forgot to change in the answer file, and that's the reason it was not able to mount. So when I checked in my answer file, as you can see here, config fixed storage fs type, we forgot to modify this. It is supposed to be XFS and not ext4. So this was, I think, a very silly mistake. And I will not be excluding any nodes now. There is an option we can give it, but we need to be sure of what is a dependency for what service. So which we are not sure at this point of time. So better we rerun the installation, because Packstack any which ways will look for the desired state, and if it finds one, it doesn't it doesn't install it again. So it's because the state matches with what is desired and with what is there in the current state. So, okay, I'm going to run this again. It will perform the operations, what it did previously. Here we can see here it did all this. This all will not take much time. However, it will come back to controller and rerun those stuffs. Uh, yes, and this time I changed it. If I search for XFS, yes, that is correct. So I wasn't expecting this mistake, but it happened. Here that you can see it gives in the error logs. It's very clear. So it is going to prepare the servers again. And then let's see once it reaches the manifest for controller. Yeah, it was taking a bit amount of time, which I did not expect, and I was thinking there is some problem because controller is the one which usually goes faster as compared to Nova, and Neutron will be faster also. I think this part is where it is not checking on the operations if the servers were already prepared. Maybe if I just check it here, what is this? Now the log directory changes every time it creates runtime actually. So this becomes my new directory. And currently it hasn't reached the manifest. And so in that case, if I just go to where log, I can see Nova got updated at 12:49. So DNF was there, so it again ran the DNF, it seems. Yeah, it is talking to the repos. Okay, Puppet, Hydra, OpenSSH, star, Ruby gems. So I think this task is not idempotent, it seems. So okay, it has finally reached. This is just preparing the. It is reading our answer file and preparing the required parameters. Now it's gone to controller, and manifest should be there. If I go back here, yes, I can see the manifest directory. And let me do a tail here to this directory. So yes, the warning is fine as mentioned before. I hope that this time, so the situation can be like if something fails, it will not stop there. So it will still try to perform rest of the operations, and at the end, Packstack will give the error listing like this that there was some problem. So there also it will take a little bit of time actually. It waits, it doesn't directly terminate after the error. So let's see. Uh, Now we should not face any error. This part. I can see it has come to heat. Okay. And yeah, it did the Swift here. We can see it now got an XFS, and I can clearly see there is no such error. And there you go. This line, it says that the device permissions mount points was executed successfully. Now, however, I have seen one thing here, that we need to give ownership to Swift and Swift for the user in the group for this directory, because I was trying to upload an image and it was always staying in the queued state and it was not being saved successfully. As soon as I changed and restarted the Swift service, the upload was successful. So not sure if if this directory is already created because it's mounted. So what is this? Neutron. Okay. So at the same time, we can also do one thing. We can just do a ps minus ef, and it will show us here what is started, because sometimes if the log is not getting updated, okay, we can see what process was the last one. See, it did a db sync for heat. This was for the Swift. Okay. And now I can see it is still, see, it got a token here, requested for a token. Yeah, must have been used for the Swift object auditor. Uh, so we can see from here also what process starts, and we can try to compare it. Swift is stopped to running. As far as we don't see any reds, how we saw before when I got the error message previously. Here, it will clearly indicate there is some problem. So that helps. Now this tells me that the catalog is applied, which means the controller is finished, and it will start with the, I think the second is compute. Now it started with network. If you see, it started with network. So let's go to the network node, and so I'm in the network node now. And if I go to where temp, let's see, go to Packstack. It's only one directory. Okay, we go to manifest. Let me do a long list, and there you go. Something is running here. So this is going to create the compile catalog. Oh, it's failed already, it seems. Compile catalog for Netra in the, okay. Oh, okay. It is starting now. Okay. So firewall. Okay. NFS. NF tables. IP6 tables. IP tables. So Hyra is the main file actually here. It says version 3 is deprecated. This will come with the installation of Puppet that happens, and I think when we did the installation of Packstack will download the required Puppet binaries also, and Packstack will usually see what version of Openstack you have and which repo is enabled. So in this case, it was Antelope. Based on that, it will download it. So okay. it will install the Neutron services and it will create the bridges for us. The bridge, remember the bridge names that we gave, the provider bridge for the compute, as well as also, of course, the OpenVSH agent will be running on all the nodes, right? Because so that's why we need uh, a bridge everywhere. So, okay, applied catalog. See, I informed earlier that if Neutron has all the settings correct, oh, we can see some. This is for the compute. Okay, it says invalid values are this. So, where temp packstack. Okay. Fine. What we can see is network was completed successfully. It came back to compute. Okay. Uh, let me see a few things here. We can. Uh, what is the? Let's see. Okay. So Hera is taking common as a second option, and then this is the node. Okay. This is my data directory. Okay. Let me just go to the data directory. This will be not be here because we were trying to do in compute. It is supposed to be in compute. Let us see that. Okay. This is which one? I have faced this issue earlier also, and I just wanted to see this. Hmm. Okay, and so why is my data not updated? So let me see the timestamp. So this is the one which I ran earlier. And how about this one? Oh, this is the latest one. So this is my Hera data. And so, of course, it's a symbolic link, defaults.yaml to common.yaml. This is the file that it will generate runtime. And as I mentioned, the data directory is also generated runtime, and it's referred to the Hera.yaml here. So I had tried to change the data directory by creating my own, but it did not work because when I saw it will generate the data directory also runtime, which is inside the temp war temp folder. Now, what was observed is that if I just search for SSH here, so there is something called as SSH underscore, I believe, key. Uh, Host key section here. Not this one. This is fine. Actually, see, you see this value, it is populating. So it should be having here should be the key. So the way this file is being populated is runtime. Okay. At this point of time, I don't have a correct information of how I can change this behavior. See, there should be an IP here and key here, but what we get is we get an IP along with the port, and instead of the key, we get the OpenSSH version. So this is some glitch, or I don't know what is that. But when you see this option, SSH underscore key is here it is, this one. So here the key is showing as okay, which is not correct. It was supposed to show me this key. RSA key, not even this key, but a key which is SSH RSA of and this type is also not correct. Should be SSH RSA key, and here should be the actual key of that. Okay, but then I just so what it is doing is Hira is actually Puppet is actually using a template file which is somewhere in user. If I, let me do a find. I don't recollect right now. Um, it's compute.pp if I'm not wrong. And this is a template actually. So if you see here in Packstack, okay, not here, but you see here, it's using this Packstack is using this template in order to then create a runtime. You can say Puppet files. What was visible and straightforward for me at that point of time is why it needs. So I just went to this directory where it is having a template. Here it will have templates which Puppet is using. Okay, and you see this all templates, and I just open this one. You see this is the line where it is trying to look up. Look up is a function here, and it's looking for SSH file, SSH keys section that we saw in commons.yaml, which is being referred in Hera data. And since it was difficult to backtrace at how things getting generated during the runtime and how I can override this since giving my values runtime, for me the feasible option was just to remove this line as of now. So I will just take a backup of this file to make sure we have the original file in /opt, and I will just delete this file. Okay. Now, as I said, if we are aware of the clear dependencies, we can go ahead and exclude certain servers that we don't want the setup to run again. In my case, I will again run the same Packstack command because now we have seen it looks for the desired state and it will not try to reinstall things. As far as Neutron and controller is expected, but yes, controller will take some time still. Neutron will not, and then it will come to compute. Compute will take a larger amount of time. So hopefully, let's see. So I'm hoping it should work now. Tiling servers will take some time. I was just exploring that, and that's how I saw what was Hera data and how it's playing a role here as a data source for Puppet. It's trying to read the YAML configurations. So since my main motive here was to have a running setup because my main test case was to use Terraform and not, to be honest, OpenStack. So now I want to leverage Terraform uh, to as an infrastructure as a code service, I can say, and then try to do operations leveraging OpenStack APIs. Let's see what provider we have for Terraform. So that's another story actually. But yes, I want to do a video for VMware along with as a VMware as a backend for OpenStack. So not sure how things will work in that. I have to test that. So preparing servers is taking time here, as usual. So if there is any way, if somebody can guide here that even if we know where we are going to face an error in the compute, okay, but I'm not sure where runtime I can modify that, and it it knows how to take the current correct value. Um, so right now we can clearly see it is taking wrong values. I just started controller now, and let me go to the controller node. Okay, so it hardly took 230 seconds, which is like 6 fours are 24. Yeah, so 4 minutes, so less than 4 minutes. So if I go to manifest now, where are we right now? Because we know that, so now we know that the directory changes, and I mean the log directory changes. It's runtime, so that's why. And it took around 4 minutes. Yeah, at that time it performed an operation for mounting of the file system for the object storage, and this time it doesn't have to do that because it was successful last time. So I'm assuming it will take even more less time as compared to the previous time. Maybe 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. Let's see. Neutron service, neutron server, refresh from one event. Okay. So those templates that are present as compute controller, those are not runtime. So this is coming from the package when we install Puppet, and it's not getting installed directly from Puppet because when we install Packstack, if you remember, Packstack is giving us the Ruby gems and the Puppet modules. So it's coming as bundle inside that packet, Puppet RPMs. And that's why I was able to modify that, because when I tried to change the header data directory by giving the defaults.yaml by giving the correct key, because I was aware from where I can get the key and what was the key type. When I saw it was always runtime, so there was no point changing those things. So where we can change the settings so it takes, which I'm not sure at this point of time. So, but what I'm sure is yes, removing that did not have any impact for the rest of the setup or installation, and it was smooth and successful once it was removed. Yes, additionally, if somebody wants a demo project to be installed, they can just do controller is done. See, it's gone to network now. See, it happened even, it still took approximately around almost same, less than that. So it finished network also because there is nothing much in network, and it's gone now to the compute, and we should be not getting the same error again, hopefully. Okay, let me just go to the logs, do manifest. Okay, so compute is the bigger one, guys. It is going to take some time, but you will see a lot of greens here. uh, Nova conductors and um, schedulers and a lot of things gets. It's however important that we keep on seeing the logs. We understand what happens and what is being installed, because this is how all the servers are, tightly integrated with each other. And if something goes down, they keep talking with each other. It doesn't work. So that's how it is important. I don't know, this is taking a bit amount of time, or how is it? So at least we have bypassed that error, because last time when we executed, so exec tune virtual host, okay, libvirt, yeah. Of course, we are going to use libvirt as our virtualization. We are doing it over Linux operating system, so that makes sense. And that's why we want to try ESXi. Mm, So our provider will change, and it will have some respective agent for uh, ESXi, it seems. See, it's installing the libvirt network filter, a dual virtual host. As far as I recollect, last time when I ran this, maybe I'm missing something here to check a different log file. No, this is the one. Oh yes, if I see in log, okay, there will be for I can recollect, there is something for libvirt here, and if I go to controller back here and I check the log, so okay, so far there's nothing here, but then if I again go back to where temp Packstack and I check the latest one, which is here, and the manifest. Okay, so then okay, so ES37 is our compute node, guys, and it's important that we are putting correct IP addresses in the answer file, otherwise everything will be messed up. Okay, now it seems it has taken the start. It did certain things at the beginning, zero meter, neutron. This is really important file, policy.yaml, guys. It is etc nova policy.yaml. So if we are not aware, so just like to highlight here, OpenStack uses awesome, guys. So I was completing this part. I wanted to mention OpenStack uses policy.yaml uh, for role-based access controls, and you can fine-grain an access based on a member, uh, a project, or also for a domain. And for that, policies.yaml is very important. So, guys, here we can see Our setup got completed successfully after modifying that Puppet template file. Okay, and these instructions are important. We can just read once. Okay, we haven't done any NTP, but it was still successful. Here it gives me the IP address, guys, which I can use to log into my dashboard. But the point is what username password I will be using. So there are two ways you can get that information. You can find your login credentials using the Keystone RC admin file. Okay, this gets created once the setup is completed. This is the log directory. Other way to find the credentials will be in your answer file because we did not modify anything, so still those details would be present in the answer file. Now, if I just do a cat, just take this up and it's created here only, I can see I'm exporting this username as my environment variable for the operating system, and I have this is the password. Okay, since I know what is the uh, we are using this, okay, dashboard, and there you go. Of course, we don't have HTTPS, we don't have any certificates installed, and that's the reason we get that, which is obvious. I put the password from the Keystone file, okay, for the admin user because this is the only user which I have at this point of time. So yes, guys, we can see here our Openstack Antelope is installed successfully. And since we have logged in with the admin, we can see project. Of course, this is visible to any end user who is allowed to as a member in a project. We are in the admin scope right now, admin project. We can that's why we can see the admin panel here, and we can see the identity and most of the other things that admins can do. We can create users now. We can actually make our hands dirty now with OpenStack. Few things it's important if somebody wants to understand more. So this is our network node, and if we just do an OBS VS Cuttle, sorry, VS Cuttle, and we do a show. So this will show us actually. This is OBS Cuttle is the Open vSwitch command line binary, which helps us to see the details or work with it, interact with it. And if I just wanted to show the switch that we created, this was a switch that we created. Okay, and we see this is the interface that we give, physical interface on my operating system, which was the second interface ENS224 for my external traffic. Integration switch is what OpenStack created by itself, and you see it created a patch. This is a patch in between the internal and the provider. Okay, so whatever VMs that we spin, okay, it will be using this. It will be getting connected to this switch, okay, and not this switch. It will be getting created in this switch, okay. Traffic externally definitely will go from the provider bridge. Okay, you see there is one more switch here, which is the tunnel switch. And if you remember, we use this IP address for the VXLAN, and now you can see we already have a .10 interface for VXLAN. And so if you remember, we added three interfaces only in the compute node and the network node, and that's why what we see here is that connectivity. So also here we will have a patch, okay, as we can see. So the tunnel is here. So basically it is creating this bridges automatically. What we gave in the answer file was a provider bridge along with the external network. So this is part of the neutron networking, and we can see here also some details are there about all the bridges. And so since we did not create any uh, uh, demo projects, if we come to a network, we will not find anything. I'm assuming it should not be there. Yeah, correct. So yeah. So yes, guys, I can see the OpenStack installation is successful, and I hope you were able to understand the video. Uh, and if there are any questions or anything that I can help more, if certain things are not understood, or maybe I was too fast during my setup approach, kindly I would request you to put in the comment sections, and I can, this will help me to improve better. If there is any additional information that you can provide, like how the setup could have been done in a more different way, or the tweak that we did, if you remember, for the compute.puppet file, well, where we removed the SSH key line. So such things, guys. So hope you enjoyed the video, and happy learning, and thank you for watching once again. So this was the last part of our OpenStack Antelope series, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again for watching, and have a great day.